Craig Parker here, Parker's Property Sourcing, just coming at you with another video today. And today's video will be talking about Millennials taking over the buy-to-let property market in the UK. It's one of the biggest shifts, I would say, in the UK property market over the last few years. And Millennials are becoming a driving force in buy-to-let investing. So what we're going to cover is why it's happening, first of all, what's changing, and then what it means for us investors moving forward. So stay tuned and hope you enjoy the video. So the shift in the market. So millennials now make up 50% of new buy-to-let investors across England and Wales, that is. So this generation, once labelled as Generation Rent, is now, becoming also labelled as Generation, Invest. And I've mentioned it in the video before. It's really important to know that a lot of Gen Zs millennials and Gen Zs do rent a lot also. And a lot of them don't really want to buy a home to live in. So what they do is they're now buying homes to rent out and then renting where they want to live. So they're a little bit more fluid, which is not a bad thing. I think it's a really good thing. It's like a new wave. So they see property as a path to financial freedom, not just a home anymore, basically. And this marks a major shift in the investment landscape, in my opinion. A major, major shift. So let's get into why millennials are investing more than ever before. Let's dig a little bit deeper to why they are investing. So I would say, first of all, it's a mindset shift, basically. So they value financial freedom over job security. When I was growing up, I'm mid to late 30s now. So when I was growing up, people that were, say like when I was, let's say 16, 17, people that were in their early 20s, or mid to late 20s, let's say, when I was growing up, wasn't running businesses, wasn't pushing for financial freedom. But the new wave of now at times, the new wave of, mid to late 20s, early 30s, even at sometimes early 20s, a lot of people are trying to run businesses, trying to look for financial freedom, as opposed to having job security. And when you think about it in the property sector, why is that? Well, nowadays, hence like my channel, it's easy access to property education online now. So it's more accessible than ever before. You got YouTube that wasn't really as dominant back then as it is now. You got podcasts, you got social media, you got an abundance of courses, and it's giving them all the tools they need to become successful as property investors. And I'd say thirdly, creative finance options, like knowing how to do joint ventures, the buy, refurbish, refinance strategy. It's helping them enter the market even with like limited capital, and also knowing to buy limited companies. These things we just didn't know back then, but now everything's so much more accessible. So these millennials are investing because they've got a different mindset, they've got easy access to property education, and they're also learning creative ways to raise finance, which is really, really good. And it's important for the younger generations coming up as well, So let's take a look at how it's changing the market. So this change is reshaping the market entirely. Young investors are looking up north for stronger yields and affordable entry points. They're prioritizing income over capital growth and making decisions based on solid data and spreadsheets, comparables, and ROI projections. This new generation is analytical, they're tech savvy, which, that one thing that they are is tech savvy for sure. And they're less emotional about property. So it's just changing. The whole market is just changing, basically. How these new investors look at investments to how the old school investors look at investments is so different. Um, and it's kind of giving it like a new feel, like a new energy. The property market, a brand new energy, and to be part of it is right now for me, it's amazing. It's so good to be part of it and seeing different ways of how they're raising capital. Um, where when I first started investing, my old school mentor, that was an old school guy, when I spoke to him about what these new investors are doing, he was a little bit like, really? Like it works up there? Sort of thing. But now obviously he's come round to it, he's seen the figures, he's seen the numbers, and him being an old school investor, seeing this new wave of investing, and he's like, this is the way forward. So, it's really changing the market for the better. It really is. But as it's changing the market, what does it mean for investors and the rest of the market as well, basically? So there's going to be a lot more competition for affordable deals and refurb projects. That's just a given. But the upside of it is that this is a new wave of investors. They're raising standards. They really are raising standards. So they're making the property space more professional and transparent. For experienced investors, the message is clear. You're going to have to adapt or be extinct, basically. It's that simple. It's time to adapt or be extinct. Because some of these new school investors, these millennials, are very quirky and making very bold decisions in terms of decor and lighting in their buy-to-let properties, that they're really standing out in the market. And again, which for me, as I'll keep harping on about, it's a good wave, it's a good energy, it's a good place to be right now with these millennials investing and being quirky and finding different ways to raise finance and putting different types of furniture, more quirky looking furniture in the property and stuff. It's a nice place to be, I would say, a really nice place to be. So just to summarize and a little takeaway for us, as I've said it, I've probably given a takeaway part away, to be fair, but millennials are redefining UK property investing. Yeah, they really are. It's not about age or background anymore. It's about mindset. It's about, have you educated yourself and can you adapt? So as an old school investor, can you adapt? What's your adaptability like? The investors who will thrive in the next property cycle are those who are going to be flexible, who are keeping up with all the data, and are open to new strategies and ways of raising finance. This generation is proving that property success comes down to knowledge, not just years of experience. I built my portfolio to get to my portfolio to the place it is today. It definitely was the money that I invested in my knowledge, the money that I invested in myself, to know how to, find different deals, how to structure the portfolio, where to look. I invested heavily in my education in property to get to where I am now. And to get to my next phase in my growth, I'm definitely going to reinvest the profits that I make from my property in my education, 100%. So, there's a massive shift. There's a load of new school investors coming through. The old school ones are slightly being washed away and wiped out. So we've got, adapt or be extinct is my takeaway and my summary from this 6-slide presentation I've done for you today. Really hope you enjoyed this video. I've been Craig Parker. Till next time.